Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our talk about bacteria, gut bacteria, and how it interrelates with weight loss. So the link between your gut bacteria and our weight. So please note that most of the slides are based off of Dr. Jocker's Is Your Gut Bacteria Making You Fat article. And today we have Dr. Udani, our naturopathic doctor, to walk us through this. So we realize that there might be some questions, and you can feel free to text your questions directly to Dr. Udani at the number 416-525-4850, and she will be happy to answer all of your questions. So Dr. Udani is with us this evening, and she is our naturopathic doctor here at Justine Blainey Wellness Center. She is really, really, really passionate and such an incredible practitioner, spending really great quality time with her patients, really understanding what their needs are and being able to come up with positive solutions and workable solutions and working at your own pace. And I can contest that was my experience with her for the last several months. So she has some special interests in women's health and digestion. She really focuses in on skin conditions, chronic pain, and stress, which is so important right now that we are all under. So she genuinely believes that everyone has the ability to make healthy, long-lasting changes when it comes to our lives and our health. Please help me welcome Dr. Udani.
Hi, everybody. So good to see everyone again. Good evening. So let me start off the talk by talking about our upcoming webinars. So we're still continuing the weight loss month. So for February, that will be the last one. And then we'll get starting off onto the heart health month. So we have Hannah doing the lower body band burning workout for February 9th. So that's going to be so much fun. So bring your A game. And then we also have Dr. Wolfson, which is the cardiologist, who's going to come in to talk about our heart health. And for February 23rd, I'm going to be talking more about cholesterol and how that affects our hearts and our heart health. And then for March, Dr. Justine will be sharing some information about nutrition and how that can help with promoting heart health and making your heart the healthiest that it can be. All right, so let's get started. So this whole talk is about how gut microbiome or how gut bacteria can be causing weight gain, and it could be causing you to gain fat. So let's get to know our gut microbiome and what that really means is. So if you think about our digestive system, right, it starts at our mouth and it goes all the way through to our anus. So think of it as a long tube, right? And so in this tube, it's colonized by many, like trillions of little microbes. This is bacteria, could be sometimes parasites, sometimes fungi, sometimes a little bit viruses as well. So all of this ecosystem is what the gut microbiota is. And when we think about bacteria and everything, our bodies is actually made out of more bacteria and more microorganisms than our own human cells. So they outweigh us by 10 to 1. So really, we are just walking ecosystems forest of all these bacteria. And, viruses and parasites and fungi and all. So the gut lining is actually what kind of protects us from all of this bacteria, right? It kind of acts as a little wall that prevents, all these bugs from coming into our system. And so it just keeps them kind of hanging out in this tube. And if you think about the small intestines, which is all these coils or these loops of our intestines, they have a very, very high surface area. So this surface area allows a higher rate of absorption of nutrients and absorption of energy and absorption of fats and carbs and things like that. So this is why we need to talk more about our gut microbiome. So how do intestinal flora affect our health? So because the digestive system is so important for so many things in our bodies, right? This is where we get our energy to move and to walk. This is where our food is digested. That's why the gut microbiome, or these bacteria in our gut, is so important, because they can help with our immune system. They can help train our immune system to act better, act more efficiently, fight better. It actually helps us digest certain vitamins and make them more absorbable. It helps with our metabolism, so how fast and how quickly we can burn fats. And of course, if our bacteria is imbalanced, there's many studies that have shown now it can lead to obesity, so lead to weight gain. And of course, when our gut microbiome is a little bit on the bad side, it's imbalanced, there's more of the bad guys compared to the good guys, you're going to get high rates of inflammation. So this is, people that have IBS or Crohn's or ulcerative colitis. These are people that have kind of on the end stage of this inflammation. It's caused so much damage that now they have constant gut issues. And then, of course, this can, some of the imbalanced gut microbiome has shown to even affect our brain. So even conditions like autism, conditions like dementia, Alzheimer's have also been shown to be affected by a bad gut microbiome. So this ecosystem is so important for us to keep it healthy. Think about a bad gut microbiome. So lots of bad guys in there equals increased inflammation, and that really leads to a poor quality of life. So our gut microbiome, like everything else in life, is affected by external factors and internal factors. So internal factors are, things like our genetics, our age, our anatomy and physiology. So sometimes some of us are more predisposed to developing certain gut issues or certain conditions. Our age, as we get older, things start to break down. That's why Dr. Justine always says, we got to keep moving. We got to make sure everything is working. We got to stay active. And anatomy and physiology, so the way some of our bodies are built, right? That can, let's say you had a surgery to remove your gallbladder or remove a portion of your liver. So that's affecting the way your body is detoxifying certain toxins and minerals and things like that. And then, of course, external factors that can affect the gut microbiome and the bacteria are what we eat, okay? This is so important, and I'm going to go further into talking about that. And then there's, of course, us using probiotics and prebiotics. So probiotics are good bacteria, that can recolonize our gut, especially after we've been on a round of antibiotics, for example, because antibiotics act like a huge weed killer, okay? It just like kills everything that it comes into contact with. Good guys, bad guys, it just kills everything, right? So when that's barren, sometimes some bugs will become opportunistic. So they're going to see all these free real estate, to grab onto and start multiplying. So that's why I highly recommend using some probiotics when you're going through antibiotic use. And please come talk to me or a nutritionist to kind of see which probiotics work better for you, because some of them are more effective for certain antibiotics compared to others, okay? So we are always here if you have any of these questions, because it can be quite confusing about what to be using at the time. And of course, factors like illnesses, so what I mentioned about IBS, Crohn's disease. So if you have it, it's just going to make the gut microbiome a lot worse as well, right? So it's kind of like an endless feed-forward cycle. Our lifestyle choices. So this is, how much activity we have, what kind of foods do we eat? Do we tend to eat more organic, or do we tend to eat more processed, rich foods? And sometimes even our geographic location, right, can determine the quality of the food that is on our table. So let's go further into all of these things. So an imbalance in healthy gut bacteria, like we mentioned before, can cause increased inflammation. Now, when it comes to weight gain per se, there's actually two players that have shown through studies to be the really key players with weight gain. So think about them as your two amazing good friends, because these bacteria are still friends, but they kind of have different influences in your body. So one of them is called Firmicutes. Okay, let's call him Fanny, for example, or actually Fred. Call him Fred. And then the other bacteria name is Bacteroides. So let's call her Becky. Okay, so Fred actually it's the type of bacteria that wants you to stay and watch Netflix, stay on the couch, and not really do anything. So And then Becky is the friend that makes you want to go work out. You know, she motivates you to go exercise and work out and things like that. So what they found is an imbalance. So of Fred to Becky. So more of these firmicutes that you have in the body, they've shown that you're more likely to gain weight. Okay, so that's why an imbalance in the gut bacteria can be a cause of weight gain and cause of increased inflammation, overall leading to poor quality of life. Yes. So what is the leaky gut? So there's a big trending word that a lot of people throw out there, and like not maybe let's go a little bit deeper into what it actually means. So like I mentioned a little bit earlier in the talk, the gut lining, right, is like a little wall. It protects us from all these bugs that are kind of floating and they're living in the tube, right? That's our intestines. So this gut lining is actually very, very sensitive. All right, so think about our skin, right? Our skin is actually 7 cell layers thick, all right? But our gut lining is only 1 cell layer thick. So that's like comparing cardboard to tissue paper. So it's so easily damaged, right, by these bad bacteria because they release toxins, they release poisons that kind of break away these cells. Sometimes it's the food we eat, right? Because the more inflammatory foods we eat, that tends to promote more inflammatory bacteria. So for example, animal meats, lots of fats, promote more the inflammatory bacteria, and then they in turn release all these toxins, and that break down this gut lining. So you get a leaky gut. So when this happens, you get bigger and bigger particles of food kind of coming through. So now this like wall is broken. There's like little bits and pieces where huge particles of food can come through, and our immune system gets triggered. You know, immune system's like, we need to attack this. I don't recognize what this is. So that's where a lot of those inflammatory conditions with leaky gut comes from, is, you know, the food we eat activating these bad bacteria, having an imbalance, and they start destroying the gut lining, and then your immune system kind of revs up and starts to attack them. So there's a lot of inflammation that's going on here. So prebiotics is something that we can give. So it's forms of food that really help with the good bacteria in our body. Okay, so some of the prebiotics are things like inulin. So inulin is it's like almost like a fiber that help the good bacteria in our body grow. So you can get inulin. And so these prebiotics, and of course fructans. So fructans can be found in a lot of fruits and veggies. And they also have something called polyphenol. So that's also very important. Polyphenols actually help with the gut lining to kind of cement the cells together. And they also help with promoting the good bacteria, you know, the good bacteria that's releasing So what happens is this prebiotics is eaten by the gut bacteria, and then they in turn actually start to release these foods that our cells eat. So they're called short chain fatty acids. Okay, so think of these are like the food for your gut, food for your cells that surround the gut. So this is why, you know, there's such a holistic, such a interconnectedness. The food we eat helps the good bacteria that release some of the food that our cells eat. Okay, so that's why it's really important to see all these dots so that you know where something might be going wrong and where you can actually help and get it better. So like I mentioned before, polyphenol rich foods have a very, very good effect on our gut health and our metabolism. So polyphenol-rich foods are things that are found in dark chocolate, for example, and lots of fruits and veggies. So broccoli, asparagus, even lots of spices have a lot of polyphenols. So rosemary, oregano, thyme, cloves, nuts like pecans, cherry, so berries have a lot of polyphenols too. Green tea is one of my favorite ways I get my polyphenols. Even black tea can have a very good amount of polyphenols too. And what they do is they help stitch the lining of the gut. Okay, and they also act to kind of stop the growth of the bacteria that can make you more fat. So like I said before, the Freds, the Firmicutes, it can kind of keep them in line and have more of that, the more active or the better per se bacteria that are working to kind of keep you well and your metabolism going. Yeah, so these are some of the top 50 prebiotic foods. So like I mentioned before, this is something that you should really speak to a professional about. Come and talk to me or Sabine, our nutritionist, because we got to make sure that some of these foods aren't going to give you a reaction or make something worse, especially let's say if you are having one of those inflammatory bowel conditions, because we got to make sure that it's not overloading your system all at once too, right? Because the healing will take time. It's going to take up to 4 to 6 weeks for the gut lining to really start healing. But some things that you can really do start is doing vegetables, increasing the servings of the veggies, the servings of fruits, and these act as food for the good bacteria. So this is one of the reasons why using antibiotics can be bad, and especially what I want to clarify is the abuse of antibiotics. So using it when you don't need it or not completing a course of antibiotics, because there's so much more studies that are coming up that's showing that these bacteria are getting more and more resistant. Okay, so that means the antibiotics that we're using, it's actually causing even worse bacteria to start, because the bacteria is learning from these antibiotics and they're saying, this is what I need to survive this antibiotic. So now I'm even more of a dangerous bacteria. So that's why, using too many antibiotics can make the bad guys worse and then really kill the good guys. So that's why, we need a lot of probiotics or prebiotics and really just help with the gut, because like I mentioned before, right, the gut is the kind of the root of where a lot of the conditions are that we see now in my practice and a lot of my colleagues' practice. It comes from a lot of autoimmune conditions, a lot of obesity, hormonal conditions. A lot of things come from having an unhealthy, imbalanced gut. So factors that may modify infant gut microbiota. So babies also have, a digestive system, and they also have bacteria in them, and they actually help their immune system to kind of see who's the bad guy, who's better, how to train and be a better immune system. Okay, so some of the things that help with the baby's immune system, the gut microbiome, is having a natural birth, and also having the baby breastfed more often than formula fed. So because this really helps. So the mother's microbiome, the gut, is passed down to the baby, the microbiomes in there, and they act to be more protective. And, so like it says here, the mode of birth, so was it C-section or was it natural birth, breast milk. There's also a lot of infant probiotics that are available right now. All of these can help with the baby's gut health. But I highly recommend you come and speak to one of us or speak to somebody in the healthcare field as a registered professional, so that you're not, giving something that you don't need to give or something you shouldn't be giving, right? There's so much help out here, and we want to make sure that we provide you with the best advice for your child or for yourself. So they have shown, the worst microbiome is for the infant. As they get older, they tend to hold on to weight more, or they tend to create more fats and things like that. So this is why, it's really important to kind of start early and make sure that your child is getting the best help and the best shot at a healthier lifestyle overall. So the influencing gut microbiome, this is what I mentioned before about our two good friends, Becky and Fred, okay? So Bacteroides and then Firmicutes. So Becky or Bacteroides they promote more leanness, okay? They're more, they don't necessarily absorb a lot of the fats that we eat. Whereas Freds or Firmicutes, they tend to kind of digest the fat so much better so that our bodies get more of that fat in our systems, right? So what they found is that the mother's well-being, the delivery of the baby, and the breastfeeding, and the less exposure to antibiotics tend to favor more of those bacteria in the baby's gut, compared to firmicutes, which can be coming from C-section, formula feeding, and things like that. So this is why, whenever you can, making sure, your baby is provided with more of a healthier, more of a natural delivery, as safe as it can be. Yeah, so these are some early influences on the microbiome, like we mentioned before. The gestational age of the mom, the way the baby came into this world. So was it a C-section or was it vaginal? The health of the mother's gut is really important too, because it can be passed down through breast milk to the baby. So exposure to the environment. So were you in the farm or the city? Like the air pollution and things like that. The diet, so the influence of breast milk, they contain a lot more nutrients, a lot more better for the baby than formula, for example. And of course, hospitalization, and if there was any antibiotics that were used. And, so they've done multiple studies where they've shown, the more healthier gut microbiome you have, the more resistant the baby is, the more resistant you are to getting some of the really, really bad bugs in your system, so your gut is able to fight off these bad guys from colonizing and from staying for too long. Yes, so prevent bad gut bacterial overgrowth. So this is something that I see a lot in my practice, and something that I really, really highly recommend that you come see a professional, because it is a process, and it can take some time, and you need that coaching, you need that the guidance, because there's so many places to start with. So what is the right thing to do? And we have many, many years of experience and many years of education, just so that we can help you, navigate it better. So some of the easiest steps is to make sure you eat prebiotic rich fiber foods. Okay, think of fiber like a sweep. It just sweeps away the intestinal waste, so that helps with the bowel movements. Making sure you're eating lots of fermented foods like kimchi, sauerkrauts. Bacteria tend to love that, so the good guys tend to love eating, having those fermented foods to feed on. Using herbs, so like the polyphenols, the superfoods, berries, the veggies, fruits. Making sure you have many, many sources of that in the day. And sometimes, you might have to try some infrared saunas or Epsom salts. These help with detoxification, right? Opening up your sweat glands to release the toxins out. And then apple cider vinegar can be really great too, because it's fermented and it can help with appetite and helping with promoting more of those good bacteria. Much for joining us here. We hope you learned a lot, and we do this just because we want to share the information. We want to make sure that you are given the best steps and best things possible for promoting your health. So you can always connect with us on Facebook and Twitter, YouTube, and please feel free to give us a review. We'll appreciate that a lot.
And we wanted to take this opportunity, Dr. Udani, and thank you for all of your time and all of the wisdom and knowledge that you bring to us. This is a great presentation about really understanding our gut health and how it can help us in our weight loss journey, but just even overall with our overall health. Thank you so much for being with us this evening.
You're very welcome. Thank you, Angela.
Okay. Have a great evening, everyone.
Bye, everybody.